When it comes to these investments, then we can speak about investments, current investments, and these large investment projects. And now, depending on the investment volume, we speak about different structures. Because on the one hand, the bank PKO BP was able to individually support the Polish chemical industry through its medium-sized investment programs. It was able to support the Polish chemical industry within consortiums when it comes to larger projects or consolidation processes. But now when we are talking about these large projects, so this 12 billion project between Lotos and Grupa Azoty, looking at the sheer scale of the project and the various risks, of course it needs a relevant financial structure or financing structure. So first we look at the capital side, so the how big a part the shareholders are going to take, what bigger part they're going to take in this financing. We also look at the financing of increased risks funds, so mezzanine funds, but also consortium-based funding that would be provided by the banks. So this is the kind of financing that could be amortized or based on the repayment timetable, or balloon repayment, i.e. the whole sum is repaid at the end of the project. Then, of course, there is other types of financing, for example, multilateral institutions like EBRD and EIB. And, of course, there are other possible other forms of financing, for example, through bonds. So we should look at the sources of financing and look at its structure so that it should not, so that it doesn't shake the integrity of the project, so that at each stage of the project, the relevant financial instruments can be used. So here we talk about a very complicated project. And the final thing that I would like to talk about is a matter of the level of this engagement of banks. So obviously there is the risk factors, but then there is the concentration factor. So it's the engagement of a bank that is related to own funds. So it's the 25% of own funds. So PKO BP would then be able to get involved in one entity. They would be able to use 6 billion zloty, which is the largest amount on the financial market in Poland. This is a very interesting period for us because on the one hand there is money. Banks have a surplus of money, which is very different from the situation we had 5 years ago. We can see that 150 billion zloty has been invested in bonds of the Polish National Bank. We can see how much banks invest in bonds. And now the question is, why shouldn't they invest in loans? And also in terms of mergers. So the demand for bank loan, investment bank loans is not the highest at the moment. And this is the current climate. The banks are waiting for the acceleration of investment projects, and it can be seen in the energy industry. So since 2011, we have had a decrease of investments in the Polish economy. And right now we are getting back to breaking this threshold of positive dynamics. We can see that new investment projects that appear do not have any problems with finalizing its financing. But we see that many companies are interested in investment in all branches of the industry. So the chemical industry, the construction industry, the infrastructure industry. Every investment is a risk, poses a risk. And the investors accept the risk, and they have to understand it. But they don't always want to have this risk. And it increases a certain level of anxiety. The financing will be very diversified and very difficult due to the entire situation, both in Poland and abroad. But I think that the financial market in Poland is completely prepared for this. And when it comes to the stock market, all of the financial instruments, here is the decision of the owner. Would they allow the change of structure of the Polish industry in Poland? Would it allow for the dilution of this? So should the finance minister ask for extra money from the treasury? Or is it going to be something by diluting a particular company by issuing more shares? So any further issue of shares on the stock market is a sort of a reason for imbalance. So this will be a huge challenge for Czech. So the price of 29.50, the investor is going to have to rethink whether the prices should be changed, and he has time for this until the 25th of April.
The decisions of owners will also be very important for directions of development. When you finance through the bourse, then it means that the Minister of Finance would have to make that decision, and only then that financing can come in. We have also the catalyst market in Poland with corporate bonds. In my belief, the financial market to finance chemical investments is ready. The story of Czech shows that, because Czech was in a very difficult situation. Now they have a lot of money. As director will react whether they see chemical shares as strategic shares. Today, privatization is not the key responsibility, and Minister Karpiński underlines it. So now we analyze different offers from investors, but we bear in mind that the state treasury should remain involved in several sectors of economy. So there is less tension about getting revenues for the treasury.